The legends foretold this moment. A moment where the clouds would cease moving, the world would freeze, and time would stand still. Until a man with great power approached the surface of the earth and started yapping about anything that would pop into his head. Nowadays, we celebrate this miraculous day on the 12th of August, and we call it the Great Yapping Fest. Hisasiburidana Yapping Fest. Hello everybody and welcome to another video. Today's video is somewhat special, covering a very specific topic, covering it in the most dramatized way I was able to do so. And so, we're gonna talk about Wuthering Waves event named Virtual Crisis. Yes, you probably guessed from the title or the thumbnail, I don't know. I will cook something up, and specifically 3.5 patches Virtual Crisis. Let's start from the ground up. But first, let's clear some things up for you to keep in mind for the rest of the video. This is indeed a yapping fest of mine, a point of view, or an opinion, if you will. You can of course disagree with me, agree with me, or even be somewhere in the middle. I want this video to be fun and an open discussion about the occurring Virtual Crisis event of 3.5. Without further ado, let's get right into the event itself. Let's start by breaking this event down. This event is a combat event that can be completed and get most of the rewards somewhat easily, and especially with the help of demo characters, helping you in general because you might have skipped some of them, you might have missed some of them, ignored some of them, you name it, in any regard. They are there and they can be a great benefit for all players, but not for players that own and have built those set characters, because the demo characters compared to your build characters are in a completely different league. I'm exaggerating of course with the different league part, but they aren't that great of course compared to your own characters. That's what I'm trying to say. That's pretty much the gist of it. But this event has a darker side, a side that not many people dare to approach, and that's clearing all the difficult bosses with the maximum applied buffs on them and getting the max completed points, which are 160 points. Obviously, it wasn't gonna be easy. It's not meant to be, and it's not meant to be for everyone. But looking and reading more carefully at the buffs and at the bosses of Virtual Crisis is where the concerns started to appear. At least for the two people in the entire gacha sphere that do read stuff in their gacha games. I'm not one of them. Yeah. The boss that got introduced to us with 3.0, a big old scary robot looking like creature with a flaming field surrounding it. Pretty cool, but pretty frightening too. After fighting it though, it wasn't only scary and cool, but also damn annoying. The dude was hitting and dancing through the entire field like nobody's business. He was a real, true menace. Anyway, that's what we are up against as the first boss in Virtual Crisis. And honestly, I was excited to fight this boss. It can be an annoying fight, but when you have some trial and error runs, you get the flow of the fight, you learn its moves, and it becomes a cool fight. Mastering this boss feels rewarding. Regarding the Virtual Crisis version though, all the other husks are nothing compared to this one. It has everything that made it annoying, but now it also has flaming circles that erupt from the ground, thunder striking you up from up above, a 20% resonance energy reductions. All the bosses have that though, just to keep that in mind, and also fusion bursts that get applied to you each time you get hit, or just by letting the time pass by, because why not? To be fair, the redeeming part about the fusion burst part is that you can transfer it back to the husk by performing a dodge counterattack. Even if you don't transfer it back though, it doesn't deal an absurd amount of damage, but it is yet another thing to watch out for. My experience now with the husk wasn't all that great. I try-harded as much as I possibly could, but with Cartethia, Aero Rover and Sisha, I don't have Chacona, and I couldn't get the hang of her, using her as a demo character. I was unable to clear it with all the buffs enabled. I did clear it with 38 points though, but still, this fight feels poorly optimized. It was a major disappointment for me. I just felt that the damage wasn't there, or maybe the boss's health was absurd. I don't know. I tried using Hiyuki too, but I didn't really like fighting the husk with Hiyuki. I can't find myself performing a dodge counterattack. Probably a skill issue though. In any case, as you can possibly tell, my first experience with Virtual Crisis wasn't up to a great start. That didn't bring me down though. I kept on looking forward, with my head held up high, and moved on to the next contender that intrigued me. I know, this isn't the canon order of going through Virtual Crisis, but this guy, this astronaut-looking abomination with no name, is a contender for one of the most annoying bosses in the game, where his RNG can screw you up so damn much, with her flying to the ceiling and staying there a good amount of seconds. And because of that, I decided that I want to try another difficult fight, because the husk didn't completely annihilate me. Or rather, not enough. Now though, what's his thing as a boss in Virtual Crisis? Well, I'm gonna tell you right away. The major notes that this boss have is, of course, the 20% resonance energy reduction. All the bosses have that. And that you have 50% less attack. This restriction goes away though for 2 seconds after doing an intro or a resonant liberation, which all in all doesn't sound all that bad. It could have been worse, like Husk's and Hyvatia's absurd level of screen clutter. Everything comes down to experience though, RNG, and if the boss has absurd amounts of health points, like Husk's health points, then yeah, this can be a disaster. My experience now with the Nameless Explorer was a somewhat smooth sailing kind of thing. Firstly, I tried with a buff disabled, to get the hang of it, to get 38 points. I was sure that 40 points weren't gonna be a thing for me, because of my experience with the husk. To my surprise though, I got a 3 to 330 minute clear at 38 points. So I decided to swing it. Try to clear with all the buffs enabled, and I could clear at a respectable amount of time. Luke's team though get all the credit. He could follow around the boss in every single circumstance, and Denia has a super quick rotation that isn't restrictive. You can dodge counter, get all the 40 points, skill, get out of there. Awesome stuff and things. This was probably my favorite fight in Virtual Crisis, and it also lifted my spirits up for the upcoming bosses that were ahead of me. Back and forth stuff and things are happening here, but hey, twin novas are up. A complete and utterly mystery of a boss fight. I remember fighting these mobs in the overworld, the nightmareness, and at that one exploration event as a semi-identical boss fight to this one, but blasted away kinda quickly. Didn't really get to see anything wild. Now, Virtual Crisis wasn't gonna let you blast them away the same way you did in that exploration event, right? Well, obviously not, but also kinda yeah. The most difficult part of this fight is that they fly away constantly, and that the screen clatter was on point on this one too, with all the laser beams and all the other things happening on the screen on top of few resonators, animation and effects. Good luck with Soy Soy, you're gonna have a great time. All in all, this fight doesn't sound like the worst thing in the world, but it all depends again on personal experience, RNG, and if the boss has absurd amount of health points. My experience with the boss was yet another great surprise, and even more smooth sail than the Nameless Explorer. I think that I got through the twin novas after a couple of tries with all the buffs enabled. All in all, a great fight with so much screen cluttering. Hiyuki's team again, so goated. Hiyuki was able to do her whole rotation easily and do an absurd amount of damage on top of that to both enemies with her attacks. I would go as far as to say that this is probably the best fight in 3.5's Virtual Crisis. The health points don't feel way too high. With a couple of tries, it is very doable. The score, as you can see, is 1-2, with 1 being a bad experience and 2 great experiences. The stakes were up. I didn't know what to expect from the last boss, but I went straight ahead and tried to challenge the last boss at the max difficulty, only to come across just a quick heads up. I'm gonna pronounce this boss's name wrong. I even googled it. I can't figure out how to spell it right, so we're digging in. Hyvatia. Yet another 3.0 boss that got introduced to us alongside Linné and a new region. The boss fight was quite fancy. A busy fight. A lot of stuff and things were happening, but nothing extraordinary. Until Hyvatia hologram showed up, and oh boy. The difficulty on this one was on another level. Hyvatia was like that one episode from Dragon Ball Z that went like, and this is to go even further beyond, and transforms to Super Saiyan 4 or some shit. I know he transformed to 3, I'm just joking around. And so, if you had a rough time getting around the hologram, well, this boss fight is even more difficult, with buffs like 20% less resonant energy reduction, as all the other bosses have too, laser beams, flying to the ceiling and staying there for 84 years, screen clattering to a whole other dimension, and the cherry on top, your HP cannot exceed 25% of the max health points. Though, if you are a Symphony rank aka grade of SS or above, your health points can drop below 1%. So you are fighting tooth and nail on your tiptoes to keep your rank above SS rank. When I first read that, I said, yeah, that's so damn easy. Holy moly. Another cries of victories. But I couldn't have been more wrong. To keep that SS rank, you not only need to do damage, you also need to dodge, and you also need to keep your rotations spot on to do meaningful amount of damage to these bosses, super big health points, which again might sound doable, but there are so many things happening on the screen, and you're constantly on 1% health points. It's so easy for something to go wrong and restart the whole run. Doesn't sound so fun anymore, right? To my experience now, this was a nightmare. Frustration was at an all-time high. I did take some breaks to cool down and continue some other time, but still, I couldn't clear this boss with my team of Ameth, S0R0, Linné, S0R0, and Demo Morny. I actually got past the 5-minute mark one single time, my characters died, and cleared with 37 points. I didn't really want to bother even retrying the whole thing. I just don't enjoy fighting this boss at all. To be completely fair though, I think this boss can be cleared with all the buffs enabled and with a good amount of energy regen on Ameth, which was one of the issues I had throughout my run, but it takes a really great amount of patience to do so. The journey must eventually conclude. The journey and the tries to complete Virtual Crisis at max difficulty were seemingly endless. The goal, though, was the same from the start, to clear all the bosses before the 5-minute mark, see if that was doable, and to what extent it was doable, and to also leave a brief review of my experience, the things I liked, and the things I didn't like. Overall, I did enjoy Virtual Crisis, but to say that it isn't flawed is far from the truth. And the things that I found that were the biggest issues on getting the full 40 points on each boss are as goes. The first major flaw is the 20% less energy regen. A really bad design if you ask me. I mean, it really puts a requirement on your characters to have 140 energy regen at the bare minimum to complete each rotation without any issues. It's a weird restriction to put on your Virtual Crisis event mode. I don't know why it's there, honestly. The second major flaw for most of the bosses was the absurd amount of health points they had. And the third was the screen clattering. It can get really overwhelming when you're trying to balance a rotation, a million things coming at you at each second that passes by, and effects thrown around like fireworks on New Year's Eve. I think that pretty much sums up all my thoughts and stuff and things I want to say about 3.5's Virtual Crisis. I sure hope that you stayed around to hear my thoughts and opinions, and I also hope that you enjoyed the goofiness parts of the video. And so, If you liked the video, don't forget to leave a like, a subscribe, and a comment down below with your thoughts on this one. Hope you have a wonderful day. Cheers!